Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with Amen Nefai. Today, I'll be sharing about a very important factor that most of us have been neglecting. A factor in our life that will determine how we progress and how well we do in any area we find ourselves. Now, I want to share what a very prominent speaker shared with me a few weeks back. He went to a hotel in South Africa, and when he was in the lobby, observed an aquarium, and he saw some very fanciful fish in the aquarium. And as he was admiring them, the manager of the hotel came to him and said, "Sir, we actually have another set of fish from this same hatchling that produced this fish that you're admiring, that would love you to come and see those ones too." So he took him to another very massive aquarium, and when he looked into that aquarium, the fish there were so massive, and he couldn't understand why the fish that came from the same set of eggs, that one was so tiny and the other sets were so massive. Well, today I want to be sharing with you the things that can make you, that will determine whether you be very tiny in life or whether you grow to be very massive in life in any sphere you choose to be. Because a lot of us, without knowing it, have put ourselves in situations that have condemned us to remain tiny, remain small, remain mediocre in our lives and in what we do. So today I want to be sharing with you the reasons why you will either be tiny or you'll be great in life. You know, I was reading some passage in the Bible, and I realized there was a time that Paul and Barnabas and a group of other guys were, they were praising and singing and worshiping. And the Holy Spirit came to them and said, "Separate Paul and Barnabas unto me." And you know what happened immediately after that? After the separation, when Paul and Barnabas were separated from this group, Paul and Barnabas' ministry started to grow very rapidly. In fact, their ministry shot up so much that everywhere people knew them. But you know what happened? The remaining about 5 to 10 other people who were with them at that particular point, we never heard anything about them. The point I'm trying to make is that the people who are around you will determine how successful or how mediocre you will be in life. And also that you need to know that when you decide to grow to the next level, that you need to separate yourself from the current crowd wherein you find yourself. You know, a research was done, and it was found out that in a community, the 5 people closest to any man or woman will determine his level of progress, growth, or retardation in life. Meaning that if you are around people who are mediocre, your life will always remain mediocre. But the moment you decide that I want to be great, you must separate yourself from the current set of friends that are around you. Look at another scenario. You know, Joseph in the Bible was very close to his family. His brothers, he loved his brothers and he loved his father. Now, at a stage, a series of things happened, and God systematically moved him out of his family and got him into a station that he finally ended up as the ruler of the ancient Egyptian world. Now, ask yourself, do you think that Joseph would have become prominent in life as he got to be if he had remained with his family? If he had remained with his family, if he had remained with his father, most likely he would have ended up as an ordinary shepherd, and nothing would have heard about him. But for Joseph to become great, he had to be separated from his family. He had to first of all be put in Potiphar's house, because Potiphar was a general and commander of the Pharaoh's army. He learned what it meant to be around an influential place, and from that he had understood that, because when they said he was called before Pharaoh, the first thing he did was to change his clothes and dress himself up. If he was just a shepherd boy, he wouldn't have realized that for you to appear certain before a king, that your packaging was very important. But because he was put in Potiphar's house and taken away from his father's house, he learned what culture meant. He learned what packaging meant. Also look at the case of David in the Bible. You know, after David was anointed king by Samuel when he was still a boy, at that time he was 17. He didn't become king for the next 13 years. But you know, immediately after that, what happened? God has to put certain things in place that moved him from his father's house into the king's palace. Because the king now, because he was also a very good flute player, The king needed somebody who a good singer, and David was called. And that way, David was put in the environment where he could learn how kings operated, where he could learn what it took to become a king, where he could learn how to treat people. I am telling you that for you to be great, one of the things you must do is to cut out from the circle of friends that you have now and look at the circle of friends who are doing what you currently want to do. You know, recently, after I learned this critical secret, I've been considering my circle of friends. And the more I looked at them, the more I realized that my life is almost, I can say that most of my friends, I earn between maybe 100 to 200,000 of what they earn. That is another key point. A very popular speaker said that you can never earn, that a research was actually done by a university, and they found out that most people earn between 1,000 to 3,000 of the income of their friends. Meaning that your income will rarely rise beyond $3,000 of those who are around you. My point is that for you to really choose to move to become great in life, the people around you really have to change. You know, yesterday I was watching a film on YouTube, and a lady was saying that when she decided that she wanted to be very successful in life, that the first thing she started to work very hard. But at a stage she realized that working hard was not really the key to making what she wanted. And she asked herself, what are the things I wanted to achieve? She said she wanted to build a massive company. And next thing she did was, who are those who have built massive companies? She listed their names, and she went to meet one of them and said, sir, I want you to teach me what it takes to build a massive company. Now, this man told her, is she really serious about building a massive company? She said yes. He said, okay, every morning by 4 a.m., come and pick me from my house and take me to this club where I go to meditate. And she said if you can do that, then I'll know that you're serious. Now, every morning, the next morning by 4 a.m., she had showed up, picked him up, and took him to the club where he went to hang out by 4 a.m. And what amazed her was that when he was there, that was the time he was discussing and analyzing all the deals he made the previous day and the ones he was going to make the next day. She realized that she now saw that there was a pattern in running things that was different from the way she has been doing things all this while. And the more he coached her, the more she realized that certain things that the way she was doing was actually wrong. Now, he also, because this man had a lot of companies, he took her around in her jet, and in his jet, and they were flying to different states so that he could oversee his operation. And one day she said that, then she did not have any massive ideas. But one day as they were in the plane, the man had the habit of, while in the plane, he would shut off and just, as if he was staring. That she also started to learn that habit. And one day, it was as a light bulb went off in her head. She got a concept, immediately she put it down. When they got down from the flight, she drafted a business concept about it, showed it to the man. The man said, wow, this is a wonderful business idea. He immediately, that same time, called a lawyer, a patent lawyer, who looked at it, and they said that it was business. Within 48 hours, they had gotten a massive investor to invest in that business idea. Now, this would not have happened if she was still working hard and operating her circle of friends. I'm telling you that for you to really progress in life, you must separate yourself from those around you. You must look at where you are going to, and just like the Holy Spirit, when they wanted to expand the ministry of Paul and Barnabas, had to separate them. In fact, see, even look at what even happened between Paul and Barnabas. He got to another stage too, that the Holy Spirit, that Paul on his own needed to shoot forward. And the Holy Spirit engineered it in such a way that Paul and Barnabas has to separate. So that Paul now moved in her own way and Barnabas moved in another direction. After that, Paul's ministry shot up again radically. It means that even if you move to the next level of your life, that it will get to a stage that you might say, okay, I've been here, so I need to move to the level. At any particular point you choose to move to another level of life, you must separate yourself from those circle of friends that you have there. If you don't, your life will always revolve around those people, because it's the ideas that they have that they will be sharing with you. And it's those concepts that you have that you're getting from them. It's critical for you to always analyze your circle of friends. And it's also very important for you at every particular stage to ask yourself, where am I and where am I going to? That is why it's important for you to have a vision for your life. Now, there's a kind of crab called the Mohican crab. Now, they said that if you put the Mohican crabs together in a container, all of them will just be running around the container and none will jump up. But if you want a Mohican crab to jump out of a container, take out a single Mohican crab, put it in that container, and maximum, give it 1 hour, that particular crab will jump out of that container. It means that once that crab is amongst his friends, it stays in that comfort zone that limits it. What I'm trying to tell you that your potentials are great, but you are being limited by those who are around you currently. You are being limited by those who share ideas with you, those who you talk with, those who you discuss with. And also remember, look at this, notice that if amongst your group, you are the smartest amongst them, then there's no way you can progress. The only thing you can do is actually to retrogress. You need to go down to the level of your friends so that you can level up with them. I tell you that for you to advance, some of your friends, majority of your friends who are still in your current level need to really be moved out. And is it easy? No, it's not an easy process because all of us like our comfort zone. But there was something that Jesus said. He said that any tree that is fruitful, for it to grow, that his father needs to cut out his branches and needs to prune it for it to grow further. It means that for you to really grow further, your branches too need to be cut off. These friends, some relationship that you've been keeping need to be cut off. I'm telling you that you should stop blaming circumstances for what's happening around you. Start to prune yourself. Start to look around you, critically analyze the relationships around you, and start to prune them. Currently, there are some groups I am in Facebook, on social media, WhatsApp, and I've been analyzing some of them. And I've started to prune myself from some of these groups. Now, some members of the group have been calling me and say, what's happening? Well, there's not really nothing wrong with the group. But I realized that where I'm going to, most of the people in this group are not going there. And the ideas I've been getting from them, we've been sharing, are not the kind of ideas that will get me to where I'm going to. So what I needed to do was to prune myself out of those groups. You too need to prune yourself. Prune your relationship. Because if you don't, I tell you that you continue to be like that small fish that was in that small pond that can never grow beyond that small pond. But if you choose to prune yourself, if you choose to enter a bigger pond, I can tell you that your potential will so blossom that you'll be wondering what happened. You know, yesterday I met a young lady. When I knew her, she was a sales girl in a shop. But when I saw her yesterday, she was driving her own. She was in a car and her driver was driving her. I asked her what happened. She said, well, she had to move from the mainland to the island. And when she got there, the relationship she started to build, the kind of job now the value she placed on herself suddenly jumped up. And she realized her worth. And because she realized her worth, her asking price for the job she was doing, the kind of job she started to look for, suddenly changed. Because even when she was a sales girl, she was already a graduate. But because she was in a circle of people graduates who were used to being sales girl, she did not see anything wrong with it. But when she now moved to another area of life, she now started to see more value in herself. That was why she could get to a stage where she could actually work in an area where they could give her an official car and an official driver. That same thing too can happen to you. Stop blaming your situation. Stop blaming your circumstances. Stop saying that you don't have enough money. I can tell you that ideas are what you need. Ideas are the key things that will change your life. And when you start to cut off prune yourself, when you start to move from that little pond you are into a bigger pond, I can tell you that you'll be guaranteed that your life will change. You know, if you look at a school of fish is more like when fish they hatch, they always move in a school. Now, almost all these members of that school will remain almost in the same size. But when you take out a particular set of fish from that particular school and put them in another environment, you find those set of fish growing more rapidly than those ones that have been put in they were growing together. You know, there's certain things that when in a fishery, when you want to grow massive size of fish, what you do is that you take the fishery and put it inside a sea or the ocean, so that when the fish are, despite the fact they are in a pond inside the ocean, they will not see the restriction of the pond, and as they are moving around, they can see other big fish around them, and that within that same pond they can grow bigger. But if you take out that pond they are in and put it outside the water, within that same container, despite the fact it's still the same container, they will still be there, but they will never grow into a big fish. Do something about your life. Separate yourself. Separate yourself from even some of the books you read. You know, for a very long time, I used to read a lot of motivational books. They motivated me, but it got to a stage where I now moved to reading business books and financial books. At a stage, I was watching just motivational speakers on video on YouTube, but now the kind of people I've been watching their videos are billionaires and very successful people. If I do that, I believe you too can do that to change your life. For more information, you can call me on 080-2362-2171. Thank you once again, and God bless you.